And I think all of the solutions that try to limit the opportunity of people to speak will not solve it. So I am totally against solutions to the system that try to suppress speech in different places. And what I'm talking about in my solution is not a solution to suppress speech, it's a proposal to increase the amount of speech. The amount of speech that's coming from small dollar contributions. Not expecting we're going to get rid of the other speech right now. We can't constitutionally do that. But at least giving candidates a chance to run independent campaigns, independent of the money interests. That may not be enough because of Citizens United. I completely agree. It may not be enough. But at least if we had a Congress filled with 50% or 60% or 70% of candidates who were clean money candidates, they would then have an interest in protecting the system more and going beyond what this system produces to deal with the Citizens United problem. Until we have that, we won't have any support inside of Congress to get the kind of changes that we need to deal with Citizens United. So the question is, what first? Agreeing this has been enormously difficult to get right, and agreeing Citizens United is a huge, huge problem. But I think there's something misguided in thinking that disclosure gets us what we need.
No,
right.
It doesn't. It's just a step.
Because the world of, I sit on a board of a group called MapLight, which is fancy technologies to make it really easy to take the type of work that you did and make it trivial to tie any kind of action to any kind of influence. The net product of that is to lead more people down the path of believing that money buys results. Right? So we take a world where 75% believe this, we give them the tools so they can really see it, and then they think, I'm convinced money buys results. And the product of believing that is staying home and playing with your kids rather than going out and doing anything for politics. So you've got to give them both the information and something they can do with it to actually change this. As Harvey Milk used to say, you got to give them hope here, right? So I fear that the obsession with disclosure just produces an ever more cynical populace that doesn't want to do anything. And if we don't bundle that with, we're going to disclose, and we're going to give you an option of producing a system where when we disclose, you don't care, because there's nothing there that would ever make you worry that it was money-driving results. But I guess if I were to give odds, my view is that the odds are we're not going to fix this problem. So then people say, so why do you spend your time working on it if you don't believe you can fix it? So when I was first asked that question, this came into my head. I had a 7-year-old boy, and I imagined what would happen if a doctor came to me and said, your boy has terminal brain cancer, and there's nothing that can be done. And I want you all to just sort of feel that moment and just recognize how, would you do nothing in the face of that? Right? Because I think all of us have this sense of what love for a child is, and what that means is you do whatever the hell you can, regardless of what you're told, the chances are you can succeed. Now there are Americans, they're typically poorer than most of us, but there are Americans who, out of love of their country, go risk their whole life to fight for a cause of democracy that has an extraordinarily tenuous connection back to making our government and our society better. But they do that because they have that same kind of love. And I think what this movement needs is people to look inside themselves and feel that kind of love for their country. Nobody has to die in this war. Nobody has to risk leaving their children alone. All we have to do is to have the kind of strength and passion for making this democracy work that people before have had and been willing to wage real war for. And that's enough of a reason to want to continue to fight, even if you believe there's no chance for it.